Hello students, welcome to the lecture on ethical aspects, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand the ethics in information technology, explain the importance of ethics, discuss ethical brokerage dilemmas in the wake of Sarbanes-Oxley, define cybercrime. Let me first tell you what ethical aspect is. It is a set of beliefs about right and wrong behavior within a society. Ethics is a general term for concerns about what people should do. The term ethics comes from the Greek word ethik, which means character. Indeed, the ancient Greeks conceived issues about what people should do in terms of impact upon character, whether people were of good or bad character. Our concern with good reputation reveals this kind of thinking, but bad actions and bad performance can be more important than any amount of good reputation if they are bad enough. Not even the most capable network troubleshooter could survive the discovery of large amounts of downloaded kiddie porn on his workstation. The point is that character-based ethics is incomplete. Bandit himself, in replying to critics of his compulsive gambling behavior, seems to believe that as long as an individual has the virtues, that is, the good character traits, then other actions are irrelevant. Most of the rest of us in these non-classic Greek terms believe otherwise. Nowadays, ethics is an inclusive term for concerns also referred to as morality, value, and justice. Besides character, ethics in this inclusive sense is also concerned with the rightness and wrongness of actions, the value or goodness of things and situation, and with the justness of institution. The basic terms of ethics are right, good, and judge. Ethics in information technology. Let's move on our next topic, that is ethic in information technology. The growth of the internet, the ability to capture and store vast amounts of personal data, in the midst of the many IT breakthroughs in recent years, the importance of ethics and human values has been underemphasized with a range of consequences. Here are some examples that raise public concern about the ethical use of information technology. Many employees have their email and internet access monitored while at work, as employees struggle to balance their need to manage important company assets and work time with employees' desire for privacy and self-direction. Millions of people have downloaded music and videos at no charge and in apparent violation of copyright laws at tremendous expense to the owners of those copyrights. Organizations contact millions of people worldwide through unsolicited emails, spam, as an extremely low-cost marketing approach. Hackers break into databases of financial and retail institutions to steal customer information and then use it to commit identity theft, opening new accounts and charging purchases to unsuspecting victims. Students around the world have been caught downloading material from the web and plagiarizing content for their term papers. Website plant cookies or spyware on visitors' hard drives to track their online purchases and activities. Ethics is a set of beliefs about right and wrong behavior within a society. Ethical behavior conforms to generally accepted norms, many of which are almost universal. However, although nearly everyone would agree that lying and cheating are unethical, opinions about what constitutes ethical behavior can vary dramatically. For example, attitudes towards software privacy, the practice of illegally making copies of software or enabling others to access software to which they are not entitled, range from strong opposition to acceptance of the practice as a standard approach to conducting business. Our moral principles are statements of what we believe to be rules of right conduct. As a child, we may have been taught not to lie, cheat, or steal. A person who acts with integrity acts in accordance with a personal code of principle. One approach to acting with integrity, one of the cornerstones of ethical behavior, is to extend to all people the same respect and consideration that we expect to receive from others. Unfortunately, consistency can be difficult to achieve, particularly when we are in a situation that conflicts with our moral standards. Morals are one's personal beliefs about right and wrong. The term ethics describes standards or codes of behavior expected of an individual by a group, nation, organization, profession to which an individual belongs. Importance of ethics. Now we are moving on to our next topic, that is importance of ethics. Most of us would agree that it is ethics in practice that makes sense. Just having it carefully drafted and redrafted in books may not serve the purpose. Primarily, it is the individual, consumer, the employee, or the human social unit of the society who benefits from ethics. In addition, ethics is important because of the following: satisfying basic human needs. Being fair, honest, and ethical is the basic human needs. Every employee desires to be such himself and to work for an organization that is fair and ethical in its practices. Creating credibility. An organization that is believed to be driven by moral values is respected in the society even by those who may have no information about the working and the business or an organization. Uniting people and leadership. An organization driven by values is revered by its employees also. They are the common thread that brings the employees and the decision makers on a common platform. Improving decision making. A man's destiny is the sum totals of all the decisions that he or she takes in course of his life. The same holds true for organization. Decisions are driven by values. Long-term gains. Organizations guided by ethics and values are profitable in the long run, though in the short run they may seem to lose money. Securing the society. Often ethics exceeds law in safeguarding the society. The law machinery is often found acting as a mute spectator, unable to save the society and the environment. Ethics tries to create a sense of right and wrong in the organization, and often when the law fails, it is the ethics that may stop organization from harming the society or environment. A series of major financial scandals involving Enron, Tyco, International, Health South, Adelphia, Communication, WorldCom, Global Crossing, Rite Aid, and other companies having raised deep concern about ethics in business. Managers and companies involved in these scandals have suffered mightily, from huge fines to jail terms and financial collapse, and the recognition that ethical behavior is absolutely essential for the functioning of our economy has led to numerous regulatory changes. Ethical brokerage dilemmas in the wake of Sarbanes-Oxley. Let us discuss about ethical brokerage dilemmas in the wake of Sarbanes-Oxley. In today's economy, it seems news arrives daily on the world's doorstep bringing alarming headlines about subprime mortgages, economic meltdown, tumbling home values, or bailed out packages for bankrupt companies. While certain economic conditions are truly the result of supply and demand, others are contrived and controlled by speculators. And even worse, many of these conditions could be avoided entirely with a modest use of proper business ethics. The business community is often viewed as more corrupt than other areas of society. On Wall Street, fortunes appear and sometimes evaporate just as quickly. The brokerage community, while heavily regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, has historically been a sector where ethical behavior is paramount. The call to act was urgent and nonpartisan cooperation was paramount. In April of 2002, Ohio Representative Michael Oakley introduced his bill entitled the Corporate and Auditing Accountability, Responsibility and Transparency Act, dubbed CARTA. The bill passed the House easily and was submitted to the Senate banking. Independently, Senator Paul Sarbanes of Maryland had drafted his own proposal in the form of Senate Bill 2673 and submitted it for vote in July. It too passed by a wide margin. A committee was formed to merge the two bills, and in July of 2002, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act was voted into law, Romano 1545. The Act is comprised of many titles, but the most important are the first five. Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, Title 1st, Auditor Independence, Title 2nd, Corporate Responsibility, Title 3, Enhanced Financial Disclosure, Title 4, and Analyst Conflict of Interest, Title 5. The influence of this act was widespread. Many companies, either unwilling or financially unable to comply, were merged with other organizations or went out of business. Dozens of companies removed themselves from publicly traded exchanges and reverted back to private entities. Critics were quick to point out that the increased cost of auditing, record keeping, and other forms of compliance were going to shift valuable resources from other areas of the company. Noted venture capitalist Thomas Hartman reports, since the enactment of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the average cost of compliance for companies with under $1 billion in annual revenue has increased more than $1.8 million to approximately $2.9 million, representing a 174% overall increase, Hartman first. Such criticism is understandable since every extra dollar spent for compliance issues means less money for research and development, expansion, investment, opportunities, or employee salaries and benefits. Opponents are quick to point out that the small and mid-cap companies have seen audit fees more than double since the Act, and even greater proportional increase than the larger companies. It is argued that these companies in particular cannot absorb the cost into their business plan as easily. With all the recent headlines about company misconduct and business ethics violation, has come a significant and long overdue increase in the consideration of ethics among businesses. As a result of the recent bad press about lawsuits against companies behaving badly, there has been a rapid, almost frantic scramble among many large corporations to set themselves apart from the wrongdoers in the business world. Companies have quickly penned ethics codes, instituted ethics compliance monitoring programs, or have had high-level corporate officers visibly touting the company's new and improved ethics focus in the hope of regaining consumer confidence in a devastated economy. And with good reason, consumers are increasingly wary of all business interaction to the detriment of all, even the most upright of enterprises. While businesses are fighting for survival in adverse conditions, they need to be looking to the future and building solid foundation upon which to base their future efforts. Even without investing vast financial resources, any company can reap tremendous benefits from considering and initiating an ethics program. In addition to the widely recognized value of improved company image and a smoother, more effective and happier work environment, an ethics program can contribute to a better bottom line through stronger and more solid client relationships and decreased expenses in a variety of areas. A solid ethics foundation has four key elements. The first is a strong code of ethics. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 made it important for businesses to have an ethics code, something in written about what one ought to do and what to strive for. This also serves to inform employees of the vision that the company's executives have for the company's image and goals. This helps new employees learn important aspects of how to carry out their actions at work and provides a veteran employees with something to fall back on, both as a reminder and as something to cite if they are being pressed to do something that they believe to be wrong. Cybercrime. Let us discuss about cybercrime. Parents, teachers, non-profits, governments and industry have been working hard to protect kids online. However, we also need to think about protecting the internet from kids who might abuse it. The Department of Justice categorizes computer crime in three ways. The computer as a target, attacking the computers of others, spreading viruses is an example. The computer as a weapon, using a computer to commit traditional crime that we see in the physical world, such as fraud or illegal gambling. The computer as an accessory, using a computer as a fancy filing cabinet to store illegal or stolen information. Reports of alleged computer crime have been a hot news item of late. Especially alarming is the realization that many of the masterminds behind these criminal acts are mere kids. In fact, children no longer need to be highly skilled in order to execute cyber crimes. An old adage tells us character is what we do when no one is watching. So it is with the internet online. People can feel invisible and capable of doing things they normally would not do in person or in public, things that they know might be wrong. As the internet becomes an indispensable tool for everyday life, it is more important than ever to dust off the concept of citizenship and apply it to the online world. Relatively new terms, cyber citizenship, cyber ethics, and netiquette refer to responsible cyber social behavior. These terms refer to what people do online when no one else is looking. As our kids go online in increasing numbers, cyber ethics is a critical lesson, especially since poor e-habits can start at an early age. Unfortunately, we are learning all too well that children armed with computers can be dangerous and cause serious damage and harm, regardless of whether they are being mischievous or trying to intentionally commit cyber crimes.
Every day, Thomas works, plays, and buys things on the internet. And sometimes he even speaks with his Aunt Clarissa. Today, the internet is an integral part of Thomas's life. In fact, the internet is a world of virtually unlimited possibilities for all of us, but sadly also for criminals. Every day, they attack our computers, steal our personal and confidential information, or send false messages from banks. That's how Aunt Clarissa lost 600 euros. But cyber criminals also use computers to perpetrate other misdeeds, such as fraud or theft of credit card details. To plan and execute attacks on a large scale, cyber criminals often use botnets, which are networks of compromised personal computers that have been infected by computer viruses. Cybercriminality may affect governments, businesses, and even Thomas's computer. Without even knowing it, Thomas may have already contributed in a small way towards the billions of euros of annual cybercrime profit. He may also have been one of the 1 million cybercrime victims there are in the world every day. Or his computer may have been infected with one of the 150,000 computer viruses in circulation daily. To avoid that Thomas and his Aunt Clarissa are exposed to these dangers on the net, the EU is developing a common policy to fight borderless cybercriminality. It includes close international cooperation and new, stronger laws, identification and removal of child pornography sites and networks, protection of victims, and pursuit of those responsible. Effective partnerships between governments and other public bodies, such as law enforcement authorities and private companies. Criminalizing the creation, use, and provision of botnets aimed at attacking information systems. But policies alone are not enough. Thomas knows he must be more careful. He never sends out his credit card details by email, or gives his passwords to anyone, or puts private information freely on the internet. And he always remembers to update his antivirus software. Thanks to the EU policies and his own efforts, Thomas can now surf more securely. He just needs to keep an eye on Aunt Clarissa.
While unauthorized hacking is a threat for the society, ethical hacking helps in various ways. The ethical hackers are hired for assistance in investigation. They are also hired to cover up online fraud. For instance, there are times when banks need to hire them in order to hide the activities of notorious hackers from the customers. These activities may include stealing someone's ATM or net banking PIN. Till the time the bankers sort out the issues, they take help from hackers to hide this fact from the customers so as to avoid any kind of panic amongst them. This hacking can be helpful if done for a noble cause. Types of hackers: white hat, black hat, grey hat, elite hat, blue hat, neophyte, script kiddie, activist. Purpose of unethical hacking: greed, revenge, adventure, destruction, access to forbidden information.
With Discovery News to draw a distinction between hacker culture and cybercrime.
There's a difference between hacking, computer security, and then cybercrime. And I don't know any cyber criminals. I mean, I wouldn't say that anybody should be arrested for trying to, for putting their face on YouTube or Google at an airport. I mean, that's just good fun. But there's, definitely cybercrime going on. I haven't met anyone that's into that.
What Kitchen and his cohorts are into on their weekly video podcast is a DIY approach to everything from hacking a digital camera to building a cheap video arcade machine.
One of the biggest misconceptions is that hackers aren't evil. I mean, hackers are just those guys that like to take apart stuff, maybe put it back together, change it. I want to break my iPhone and make it do different stuff that maybe Apple didn't want me to do. And that could be considered, hacking on its most basic level. It's not being satisfied with what you have. It's a thirst for knowledge and exploration.
A thirst that sometimes does lead Kitchen into a bit of mischief.
I have a malicious curiosity, and I do things in the lab that might get me arrested if I actually tried them on the streets. But that's not to say that I'm evil. I just, having fun with tools.
Tools like cell phones, video game consoles, and laptops that you probably use for their intended use. Boring. For hackers like Kitchen, every new gadget is a new opportunity.
As long as there is curiosity, there will be hackers. As long as there is a device that has more potential than the original manufacturer intended, there will be a hacker. And as long as there's a network, there will be a hacker. I mean, remember, hackers are what built the internet. So we will continue to build it with our exploits, and we're actually making it more secure by pointing out these flaws and then developing fixes.
Which is why so many hackers often land jobs as computer security professionals, literally patching the holes they themselves helped expose. It's kind of like the old chicken or egg argument.
Right, what's really interesting about it is it's the yin and the yang. I mean, the industry actually created itself by, in the 80s and even before, just all these hackers coming out of universities, good with computers, doing fun, normally not malicious stuff, but, breaking into some systems for fun, and there was a need for computer security then. So it's both sides of the coin, because the only difference between a hacker and a computer security professional is a paycheck.
Identity theft is another kind of very offensive cybercrime known across the globe. Identity theft actually is a way through which criminals somehow obtain the personal information of people whose identity they want to use for any illegal purpose. The criminal gets the key personal information and details like driving license number, social security, and PIN codes of ATM and other cards. Then criminal can use all the information for making purchases online on the name of victim. The identity theft can lead to serious consequences, as the criminal can use the information for immigration or other such important application. The most serious consequences is that crime is often done by identity theft expert who perform the tasks very meticulously, and thus the charge of crime comes on victim whose identity has been theft. Cyber thieves who steal personal information online do so to take an individual personal information and use the information to create a new identity in which to commit illegal activities or to use for other purposes. There are some cyber thieves who use stolen information to obtain social security numbers and to commit credit card fraud. Also, some thieves use stolen identities to apply for a job under the name of another person's identity. Stealing the information of the individual is accomplished through the use of a computer and communication devices. Because many computers and communication devices are connected online, the internet is the primary way that this is accomplished. It is basically causing injury to the reputation of a person or a company using false statement or action. It can be also described as an attack on good faith name and reputation of a person or company by someone who is not in favor of that person or company and does want to float some negative message in the society or market. Defamation is considered to be a crime in almost all the countries of the world, including India. There are some more words which interpret almost the same meaning as defamation: calumny, vilification, traducement, slander, and libel. All these words explain defamation, but there are two major kinds of defamation: libel and slander. Libel is visual defamation, which can be in the form of fake prints, misleading pictures, or deceptive videos. When any sort of defamation is done using internet, then it is called cyber defamation. Cyber defamation is a crime which is conducted in cyberspace, mostly through the medium of internet, with an aim to defame a person or a company. With increasing use of internet around the globe, the craft of cyber defamation is increasing like anything. All countries are incorporating cyber laws and amending them in order to combat against this very serious cyber crime called as cyber defamation. Whoever publishes or transmits or causes to be published in the electronic form any material which is lascivious or appeals to the prurient interest, or if its effect is such as to tend to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely, having regard to all relevant circumstances, to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied in it, shall be punished on first conviction with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years, and with fine which may extend to 1 lakh rupees, and in the event of a second or subsequent conviction, with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years, and also with fine which may extend to 10 lakh rupees. Summary. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. The growth of the internet, the ability to capture and store vast amounts of personal data, and greater reliance on information system in all aspects of life have increased the risk that information technology will be used unethically. Every society forms a set of rules that establishes the boundaries of generally accepted behavior. A person who acts with integrity acts in accordance with a personal code of principle. To be consistent and act with integrity, you must apply the same moral standards in all situations. Slander is a form of defamation other than libel. This form is related with the use of transitory statements.